The government's plans to ask supermarkets to voluntarily cap the price of basic food items like bread and milk have been unsurprisingly met with widespread derision pretty much across the board. The British Retail Consortium has said the measures would not make a jot of difference and that the government should focus on keeping prices as low as possible rather than recreating 1970s style price controls. So, we know we've got a ridiculously high level of inflation, Joe, when it comes to food. Is this too little, too late? Is it an absolutely absurd policy proposal? Why are the Conservatives doing this? It seems like they're trying to pinch policies from the left because they've run out of ideas.
Well, they've certainly run out of ideas, and they're certainly clutching at any straw that it happens to be the current concern of people without stopping to think again, as I've said before, about any long-term, sensible, strategic planning. You know, what have they done to prepare post-Brexit for what's happened in the farming industry? The lack of people to pick and sort through. We've got a huge shortage of butchers. We've got a problem with a shortage of vets. We've got a problem with people picking crops and packaging and all of those sort of things, which used to be very, very conveniently filled by many, many Eastern European workers who'd come over on temporary visas, they'd work for 3 months through the summer and then they'd go home again. All of that's gone. The government has made no effort whatsoever to look at what's happening. Now, there have been obvious things like Ukraine war, which has had a huge impact on wheat supplies and therefore the cost of it, and also on the cost and impact on fertiliser. Very important for farms. And the supermarkets are making massive profits, we know. But they're not going to go for price caps. France has done this as a voluntary thing for 3 months only, as a trial. And I think
France always does mad things, and then they backtrack on them immediately, with their various wealth taxes and things like that.
But I do think, we really have to have a bigger conversation. Yes, the price of food is absolutely astronomical, and it's really, really frightening for many, many people. But we've had cheap stuff for a very long time without giving any thought as to how it gets to be cheap. Where does it come from? Why does a chicken only cost threepence halfpenny?
I'm going to pick you up because I've let you have your say there. And you've made some very good points, of course, as you always do. But you've mentioned Brexit several times. I just want to pick you up and get Connor's view on that, because has this got anything really to do with Brexit? Because we've seen food inflation reaching record high levels in many European countries.
Yeah, Germany's just about to enter a recession as well, and as far as I know, they didn't withdraw from the European Union. One thing that you omitted in your analysis there, Joe, all of those factors definitely contributed to it. No mention of lockdown.
Yes.
And 33% of all pounds in existence were printed in those 2 years. It took some time to go...
Now, that is a great stat.
There you go.
I'll have to fact-check that.
There was a significant amount of dollars as well. And that's the global reserve currency, so obviously it's making everything way more expensive. So the point is, now that's worked through the system, of course that's going to make skyrocketing inflation. And the reason they're talking about price controls and making them voluntary as well, so the government isn't on the hook for making it a mandatory policy, because we all know anytime you put a price cap on overnight, when the price raises, it hits people hardest. The reason they want to do this is to make a smokescreen away from the Bank of England, the Treasury and the sitting Prime Minister, who was the Chancellor, who have basically screwed up the economy with their policy.
But why is inflation so sticky in this country? Why is it lasting so long, in particular on food? Any ideas?
Well, one, it's because we don't produce nearly as much of our food as America, for example. There's a great
So we
comparison.
need to be more self-sufficient.
Absolutely,
yeah?
And I agree with you in terms of the farming regulations. It's not just the post-Brexit subsidies that they screwed up and didn't realise what to do, but as far as I'm concerned, anyone who's watched Clarkson's Farm would say defra delenda est. They're more interested in shooting innocent alpacas than getting rid of loads of the bureaucracy that is weighing down British farmers. And we've been paying them to retire. Why on earth are we doing that, rather than making sure that they can buy new machinery to deliver us nice food?
Well, there you go. There's a lot there, Joe. Price caps. Why do you think the government is even considering these type of measures? Is it desperation so that they can say the price of milk is staying at, £1 or whatever for the next 2 months and onwards?
It is desperation to be seen to be doing something. And I think that what is probably needling Rishi Sunak quite a lot is continual polling that shows that although people prefer him in many, many ways to his predecessors, and they, in some cases, they prefer him to his Conservative Party, there is this huge disconnect because he is so fabulously wealthy, so unimaginably wealthy.
I think he comes across as quite humble, though. I disagree with him on all sorts, but I don't think he comes across as this sort of...
But I do think there is that sense of, you do something desperate when you suddenly come up against somebody who says, look, I'm a nurse or I'm a teacher, I'm earning average salary and I'm still having to go to a food bank.
Panic, because he can't relate and he can't speak to people as if they're normal people. That is a problem for a lot of our politicians. Dave